Welcome everybody to the last of the 6 weeks of knowledge sharing for the KOKA Korean Retail Association. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have a very exciting agenda ahead of us. Today, it's my pleasure to introduce myself to some of you for the first time. My name is Simon Vanderhart. I am the General Manager for Brand Loyalty for Asia Pacific. I'm also responsible since recently for the Korean market. And unfortunately, I can't be in Korea. It was really my wish I could be there today to meet many of you in person. As many of you know, and I think also in Korea, we are still dealing with the after effects of COVID. But in the coming weeks and months, I hope that we can get together and I can properly introduce myself. As I mentioned, we have a full agenda, and we are very lucky to be joined by a gentleman named Koen van Dijk, who is truly a retail expert. He has not only worked with Brand Loyalty for 14 years, but he also used to be a supermarket manager for over a decade. And Koen is going to take us on a journey and give us an update on what is happening in retail in Europe. Especially, I've asked him to give us some insights into how to command the intention on the shop floor for consumers. There's so much information these days that comes at everybody. And I think Koen has some very specific insights into this, which I think are also very relevant for the Korean market. Koen, would you mind maybe introducing yourself to the audience today?
Well, thank you, Simon, for this brilliant introduction. I'm going to say something that's probably going to sound horrible, but I'm going to try it anyway. 안녕하세요. 만나세요 반갑습니다. I hope I just said hello to all of you and nice to meet you. I do speak several languages, but my South Korean is a little bit rusty, so forgive me my mistakes. Again, Simon, thank you for the invitation. I'm very proud of all the knowledge sharing sessions already hosted in collaboration with the KOKA organization. As you said, yep, already over 14 years here at Brand Loyalty. Actually, great part of my life also working on the shop floor, being present on the other side of the table. My current role is Manager Corporate Marketing, and as such, I'm also very proud to talk you through something about Brand Loyalty that has just recently changed. That's our visual identity. Now, you may or may not have seen it, but we changed our payoff, we changed our logo for many valid reasons, because Brand Loyalty is ready for the future. We have transformed our organization over the last 3 years, and we are now really ready with all of our communication and look and feel for the future. The payoff, Happy People, Better Business, has a very important add-on, the Better Business, because the Better Business is also valid for all our partners, not only our clients, but also our colleagues and also our brand partners that we work with. Now, I could talk for way too much time on this. I will not. But if you allow me, Simon, I would like to show everyone the brand movie that we made that explains a little bit about our story. Is that something you would like?
Please do. I'm very excited to see it. I think the audience will also be excited to watch it.
Okay, now let's have a look at our story.
Loyalty is a beautiful phenomenon. It is an essential part of friendship, of family, of relationships that you hold dear. Loyalty is about trust and appreciation. It should never be taken for granted. It has to be earned. Also in retail, loyalty has to be earned. And this is exactly what we do. We boost loyalty by campaigns that make people happy. For decades, we have forged and intensified connections between retailers.
These loyalty promotions are just so much more emotionally engaging.
Brands.
We share the same values.
And shoppers. Each campaign we develop is an example of smart creativity, a tailored mix of data analytics, technology, rewards, storytelling, and perhaps most important, a deep understanding of retail. Because online, as well as offline, we know retail.
It's about people.
We love retail.
When you share a story and you do it well, People remember it.
We live retail.
You understand that we get up in the morning not to make money, but to create change in the world.
Inspired by our purpose, next generation happiness, our goal is to minimize the impact on our planet and maximize the impact for our clients.
Just launching the program, it's really been a great success.
We support the retailer's journey from strategy to solution and execution, immersing ourselves in the retailer's world to understand the what and the why before finding the how.
And you execute it with excellence.
Combining decades of loyalty experience with some of the world's most well-known brands.
And as a result, we have produced really some spectacular campaigns for our retailers.
And ensuring operational excellence from sourcing to activation.
So this has been really a simple, easy program to execute.
When are we going to do this again?
Whichever campaign we create, fulfilling big wishes or providing small pleasures, we guarantee to deliver results. Always making people happy and business better.
Well, that
was amazing. Thank you for sharing that, Koen. And I love the new look and feel on the new corporate identity. But I think that's enough about brand loyalty. What I'm really interested here about, Koen, is what is happening in Europe. We're in Asia and we're talking to the Korean Coca Association. I would love to know if there's anything that's happening in Europe that is relevant to share with our Korean partners.
Okay, fair question. Before I did thought about some of the things going on here in Europe. I do believe that the South Korean grocery retail market is one of the advanced retail and sceneries in the world. So there's a lot of watching at you, what's going on, at least what I always do. And yeah, it's just something that really is a passion of mine. If I go on holidays, I always do the first grocery trip to check out the supermarket. So yeah, let me tell you a little bit what's going on this side of the world. And I'm just going to share with you some of the slides. Yeah, here it is, some European trends. Now, of course, we don't have the time, Simon, to go in details, but I think it's interesting to highlight at least 5 of the things happening over here. One of them, that retailers are turning convenience into a key part of their store formats, but also adding experience to the shopper journey. Recently in Russia, a retailer opened up a large supermarket store completely in the traveling theme. That was, you know, you have these big balloons above a department within the supermarket. So everything was related around to traveling, which is something we are not allowed to do currently, but it's just adding experience to the shopping trip is always important, but it's getting more and more important. Another thing that, you know, supermarkets are at the core of any society. So they will follow any flow of changing in shopper behavior. And we all consider our habits of eating, digesting food. So if we can contribute our little piece to the sustainability, we will, you see more refill stations in supermarkets, or the ban of plastic bags. In some countries they were still handed out. So that's all being changed. And also assortment-wise, vegan assortment is one of the fastest growing assortments within the European food retailers. Doesn't add up a lot, but percentage-wise, it's growing the fastest. Now, I think this comes, the third one, has potentially flew over from the Asian part of the world, but there is a lot going on also, let's say, propelled by the Corona period, is Flitz delivery. Delivery within 10 minutes. Groceries to your
10
door.
minutes?
Is
that achievable?
In 10 minutes. It is achievable, and there's a large fight going on in Europe between 3-4 partners to become the biggest market player in that field. It's not profitable, as with many online grocery retail initiatives, yet it is there. And also the dark kitchen initiative, there's an interesting article on our website if you want to read what's going on. So using other locations to serve shoppers on their food behavior. I really invite all of you to look for Dark Kitchen on our website. It's an interesting trends article on that. Just for your information, Simon, that the gorillas, I think, just recently also picked up a 600 million investment euros, that is, investment deal. Do you have those in Asia as well?
Absolutely. I think we see the similar trend here, and every country has significant players, and there's always new startups trying to be faster and cheaper. It's a very competitive industry, but I think here we still see that the major players being, Uber is probably the most regionalized, followed closely by Foodpanda.
Okay, interesting to know. Because Uber in most parts of Europe isn't that well implemented compared to other regions, but so here it's Gorilla or other names. But you touched upon the online world. Online, of course, has shown a rapid growth. In some parts of the world, and I think more in Asia, it's well over 10%. But in Europe, in the Netherlands, for example, it's under 7%. And in most parts of the world, there is an increasing part of the pie going online, and it causes sometimes headaches for food retailers to solve that issue, also because of the business model and all the elements that goes with that online food retail industry. But we still have to remember that the vast majority happens offline in almost all over the world.
Food retailers become profitable selling online in recent years?
Not one of them is having a financial beneficial business model in the online groceries. Not one. Will they be? They have to become profitable. They have to. Will we have solutions in about 5 years' time that make it profitable? Potentially, yes. But I've been hearing this since 1993 when Peapod in the US did the first online delivery. But there's up to now no one yet able to come up with a financially interesting business model behind it. But yeah, it's there. Retailers have to struggle with that. You in Korea, South Korea are struggling with that. But there will be end at the light of the tunnel, 100%.
Interesting.
Because the technology, and that's my last comment that I wanted to make, the technology will play an important role more and more. You see the robotization more and more on the shop floor. But for example, in Europe, the self-scan is completely accepted, and there's already more self-scans turnover compared to manned checkout turnover in supermarkets. And we have
self-scan is something that I have not yet seen in Asia. It is very much a European thing. Can you explain it briefly for the audience?
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out, Simon. That's my mistake. Self-scan is actually allowing the shopper to be in control, and that's what we like as shoppers. So I have a handheld device. I can also do it by my iPhone or a cell phone, sorry. But it allows me to pick up the groceries, scan them, and put them in my bag. And I have to go at the end of my shopping trip to a separate area where I only scan my handheld device and then I pay. Now, why is it so adjusted by shoppers? Because it's very convenient. First of all, I'm in control, and it saves me multiple touching the product compared to going to a manned checkout. Taking the product from the shelf, in the cart, from the cart on the transportation belt, after the scanning, put it back in the products in a bag, and then to my car.
A logical question, but is there any data on pilferage amounts with regards to self-scan?
The turnover amount for self-scan, you mean?
Now the pilferage are goods. How are we checking that consumers are scanning everything they put in their bag?
That's you're thinking like a real food retail now here, because that's indeed the first question people always ask me. It is, of course, there are random checks. So if you want to pay, the system could block you. Hey, a shop attendant will come to you and check if you've scanned everything. If you get caught on that, that's a very social hurting issue. Now, so giving trust to shoppers to follow them in their shop floor, on the shopper journey, has paid off. So yes, there will be more theft, but there's also theft when you have a manned checkout. So It's
totally understand.
And it's a high investment, but you're reducing a lot of store staff because one person can attend 8 self-scan units easily. So it's a balancing act, as always in food retail, but especially thinking from a shopper perspective, which I think is the most important part, is you give them trust. The vast majority will not betray you.
I think trust is so important between retailers and consumers these days.
100%. Now, Scan and Go, for those, that's, let's say, the Amazon to go store, what was a couple of years ago, that's now being implemented by way more retailers across Europe. Just, you don't even, you don't see a cashier anymore. You just walk in the store, you pick up your groceries and you walk out and you have paid. So why is this technology coming up? Easily because the biggest irritation for all shoppers is, of course, having to queue up to pay in a supermarket. Why am I so passionate about it? Because I know we as a company, we are globally present in over 60 countries, if I'm not lying, and we can see and we pick up things happening around the globe. And we try to summarize it in a monthly newsletter that's called Things We See in Retail and Loyalty, which at least informs everyone what's going on in the rest of the world in food retail and specifically loyalty market. This is a newsletter, and you know this, Simon, that's available for our contacts. So they can always reach out to us if they want to receive it.
There's always surprising new information in there every single month. I highly, I love it myself. I learn a lot from it myself. And I think the feedback from many of our partners, suppliers, and clients have been very, very positive. So yes, please do reach out to myself or any other brand loyalty contacts, and we will absolutely love to share this with you.
Yeah, and if you want to follow us on LinkedIn, we share regularly updates on everything that's going on there. On the technology, if I may, Simon, there's something that made brand loyalty very unique. We have come up with a global innovation, which is patented, to solve the issue of this self-scan what we just talked about, having no more cashiers in the store who are handing out stamps. And that is
particularly important for brand loyalty, as we are dependent on the stamps to be issued.
Exactly. So let me just briefly talk you through what is called Standy. And Standy has been tested, used in, this is an image taken in Carrefour, France, a big retailer who trusted us to bring this innovation to their stores. Now, the beauty of Standy is that it's a standalone unit that requires no point of sale integration, where simply by inserting your ticket, the device calculates the amount of stamps you have earned. And although this video lasts longer than 6 seconds, this was the version number 1. Version number 2 tested at Carrefour does it in less than 6 seconds. Now, why is this so interesting? Not only for us, but we do everything to bring added value to our clients, to food retailers around the world. The issue of fraud protection. Stamps represent money, and they need to be treated as such. Well, with Standy in place, there is no more fraud possible.
I think the other important issue is, of course, labor and store operations, and reducing the reliance on the reducing manual work that is required by store staff.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's it's a time saving at each checkout. And again, important to highlight, we make this work without the need to integrate to the current POS system of a food retailer. Of course, COVID-19 also helps, that's a hygiene factor, but that no POS integration is really a strong thing, Simon.
Is it available for trials in Asia Pacific and in Korea?
Yeah, that's a very valid question. After having successfully run tests in a hypermarket and a supermarkets at Carrefour France, we are completely ready to introduce it in other parts of the world. And I would be more than happy to run tests in Korea or anywhere else in the APAC region, Simon. Yeah, we're ready.
Fantastic. That sounds very promising.
Okay. Summarizing up the part of what's happening in retail in Europe, there's also what we bring then for us to life, is that we will introduce the things that we see happening at a shopper's end. We bring it back into relevant themes and then make it work via loyalty campaigns. I think this is more your work. You understand this a little bit better. But yeah, this is how we want to also talk to our clients on. There are certain themes, tap into them. These are real shopper needs. And as long as you are relevant to your shoppers, they will become loyal and they will come back to you. My last slide for now is the whole retail scene is, of course, retail is detail and the devil is in the detail. We all know this. I say we because I consider myself a food retailer still. We all know that. You all know that. But we also know that in the way how we activate our programs. And that will be my final part of the presentation, if that's okay with you, Simon.
Thank you, Koen. Yeah, so with your experience in loyalty, but also from a food retail perspective, we would love to understand, how does a consumer really get attracted to a program or to POS in stores? How do you create any impact on the store floor?
Yeah.
Is there any tips you can share with us?
That's exactly what I hope to do. And before I do that, there's just something I need to, because now we're talking about shoppers, and I have a potentially silly question for you. Do you think shoppers are blind?
I think that's a very rude question. Of course, I mean, maybe some shoppers are blind, but I think most people aren't.
No, you're so right. I need to rephrase my question, Simon. Sorry. If you do your shopping, what is the percentage of non-seen point of sale material during a supermarket trip? So what is the percentage of all POS materials that you do not see while doing your groceries?
I think maybe 50%.
Yeah.
Am I close?
Could be. I'm going to shock you potentially. It's actually a 95% that you do not see on floor stickers, on wobblers, on posters, on ceiling banners, on leaflets, buttons, everything that's in that store, you miss out on 95%. So our metaphor to command attention on the shopper is actually punch your shoppers every now and then in the face. Of course, not literally, but it really works. You need to stand out. Otherwise, you don't get noticed. And for that, in a second, Simon, I will share with you a very easy implemented 4 questions that will challenge you on whether or not it will command that attention.
Okay, very curious.
Okay,
just knowing how much money that brand loyalty spends on POS, but also our clients spend on POS. If 95% goes unseen, that seems like a terrible waste.
There's hope. We know where to communicate what and how. I will come to that. Simon, I'm going to ask you again, watch closely to the screen, okay? What have you seen? May I ask you that? What have you seen?
I saw a man, I think he was cutting some vegetables.
Okay.
I think it was a knife promotion.
Oh, okay, ticking a lot of boxes here. Nice. Simon, you just watched approximately 1.3 seconds a POS material. That is the average amount a shopper spends watching ours, retailers' point of sale material in the supermarket. Now, if I go back to the slide and I show you what it is that was on the, what I showed you, this man is actually Jamie Oliver. Yeah, nice, right? But a shopper spends 1.3 seconds watching this. So how do you create effective POS? Well, internally, we have a lot of arguments saying, this is not an Asian kitchen, we cannot sell it like this, etc. But a shopper doesn't look like that. There are 4 C's of effective POS that I would like to share with you, and this is applicable to all POS material that you develop. First one is, does it command attention? That's an easy question. I want us to come up with something to avoid having personal opinions. So if I show you this, does this command attention?
I think so.
Yeah, and although you don't know, well, you do because you understand what's written down there, but that was not my question. I also didn't want you to know I don't like the blue in this big M. Does it command attention? The answer is simply yes. Similar for this campaign. Oh, yeah, similar to this campaign. Does this command attention? I'm not sure if you are familiar with this brand, but this is Mr. Proper, a cleaning device. Cleaning device. It's really
very clever.
So, asking around, if you develop your artwork, we do it as well. This retailer, I'm not sure if you heard about this art that went.
Banksy.
Yeah, Banksy. So the next day, this was a retailer in Ireland. You were doing that. I thought that was absolutely brilliant. So, fortunately, we also have some examples from our own to create attention. This is one of our Disney campaigns. If you enter the store, there is no way you cannot have seen it. So we need to command attention, and that's the only question that you need to ask. And I have one more example. Does this command attention? It looks like a glass, there's quartz in it, and that's how it works. There was a glassware campaign.
Yeah, sorry, that's glassware campaign.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, so.
Yeah, and I didn't want to hear whether you liked or disliked the orange color or the text on it. We'll come to that. So the first question you should always ask for each individual item is, does it command attention? The display, does it command attention? The floor sticker, ask that question when you have lunch, okay? There are 4 C questions, as I said. You don't need to have 4 yeses though, Simon. If you have 4 no's, I wouldn't go into production, but anything else, you know, as long as you have more yeses than no's, I would go ahead.
Okay, well, what is the second C?
Second one is, does it connect to the target shopper? If it doesn't connect, don't do it. We set up an event for kids tying back into the campaign, and that works. Does it mean you sometimes need to develop specific point of sale material? Of course, this is a young female shopper attracted to the princess, whereas a young male shopper would like to see another figure of the Disney movie, and we made those artwork. And this is what happened. People love to take a picture of that and share it again. So, does it command attention and does it connect to the target shopper? But also very important is the third one. Does it convey information? Does the message come across? Hierarchy is really key in all of that. And I'm going to be a bit bashing to the Asian world. This is an image where there's so much going on that you, first of all, don't see anyone looking upstairs to the ceiling banners, of course, in this image, but you get part of the 95% not seen, for sure. An example is shop at Safeway, shop, earn, collect. Now, you can see the range. The biggest word here is free. That's what, there's always has to be one element more important than the other. So hierarchically, free is the biggest, then it's shop, earn, collect, and then there's a period, and then at the bottom I see very small letters. Fine.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
I think it applies.
100%. You can definitely get the message across tying in some of our campaign rewards to a certain assortment group. In this case, Spiegelau, juices, glassware. Okay, so we touched upon, does it command attention? Does it connect to the target shopper? And does it convey the information? And the last sequence, does it close the deal? Does it make you want to buy the product? Does it make you want to participate in one of our programs, for example? Now, this is a recommendation shown. You know, if you see this, hey guys, this is a 4-star rewarded Amazon, so it would really make you decide to participate. Another example that we use is wobblers. And vertical wobblers are way more effective than horizontal to the shelf wobblers.
Why is that? Why is vertical better than horizontal?
Because this you can see from like 10 meters distance, whereas the horizontal ones to the shelf, you have to be in 1.5 meters of that assortment to see that wobbler. Maybe a little bit more expensive because it's double-sided communication, but commanding attention on the shop floor, this works. Simple detail, but it works.
Very clever.
So, summing up, ask yourself these things. Ask yourselves, and they always work. Now, do we know what works and what doesn't work? Yes, we do, because we do research for all of that. We call it impact ratio research. It's a very difficult research. We do eye tracking. We have lots of analysis done there. We know that shoppers only perceive things at entrance and at checkout, because in the middle, I'm doing my groceries. I don't have time to look at your communication, dear retailer. Now, quickly, 2 slides on impact ratios. The 27% is to entrance gate decoration, very successful. The arch is 48%. The arch is one of the most effective POS materials you can have. You will, sorry again, you will see shoppers bend their head knowing that they just dug under an arch. Then you know it's been seen. Striking thing on this slide, Simon, is the only 60% for this huge, massive floor sticker. In essence, floor stickers are very efficient. However, not at entrance of the store because I still have my head up high. I'm not in a shopping mode yet because the moment I'm in my shopping mode, my head goes down in a reading position, either to read my shopping list on a smartphone or on a paper or holding the bar of the shopping cart.
So we need less floor stickers and more arches in our programs in Korea. Good.
Arches, definitely. Floor stickers also, but on the right way, not at the entrance. In the right location, sorry. When you have closed your shopping trip, you go to a checkout and your head goes up again. And that's where you can easily hang a bunting line above the checkout. That's always seen. You have very cheap communication. That's the 28%. It's actually the screen where shoppers see what they have to pay. Half of that screen can be the communication of your program. Artwork's done, nothing, you don't need to do anything on that. So there's also very cheap things to do.
That's very interesting.
This is just too much because there's no time for going over all of the details on what we do also know on leaflets and things like that. We do develop another solution which has been implemented in APAC multiple times already. I'm not sure if it's also in the Korean market, but it's called StorePal, Program Activation Live. It's a very simple app where we put the store staff in the driver's seat. Okay? Please go.
No, it's been implemented in Asia Pacific. I don't believe it's been implemented in Korea, but I do know that that this is an app that can make life for store staff so much easier, and I think that is definitely a key focus for every country in Asia, and I'm sure that in Korea we would also love to to have deeper discussions and learn more about this.
Okay, because it is based already on facts. We know that StorePal stores, to call it like that, they have on average a 1.3 increased turnover. So it's a big thing. I am going to close off. I want to share with you one other commanding attention great thingy. That is, what if you could come up with something that just before the program starts already generates awareness and a lot of buzz in your store? Why not design a cover-up of the display with a little peek hole, as you can see on the right? This is what happens if we do so. It's just, I always love that. The moment you create something on your shop floor that draws attention, similar what happens to Standy, the device handing out stamps, the moment there are 2 or 3 shoppers at a certain corner, at a certain location in the store, other shoppers go like, what's going on there? Is that for free? Do I need to go there? And you just create excitement on the shop floor. And this was already, people were already talking about our program of this retailer that hasn't even started yet.
That's it's so impactful. I love this. This is excellent. Thank you so much for sharing it, Koen.
You're very welcome. There's a whole, co-creation deep dive on how program activation can come to life, also in retail. But let me close off by saying, please, if you want to learn more about loyalty, about our company brand loyalty, feel free to follow us on LinkedIn. Feel free to reach out to colleagues in APAC or here in Europe, we're more than happy to support you because we know that indeed retail is detail and the devil is in the detail. So with that, I'm open for some questions from your side, Simon, but I'm very, very happy that I've had a chance to share this with you.
Thank you so much, Koen, and thank you so much for joining us today and making yourself available. It was a little bit awkward not being in the same room and being able to really interact face to face. I hope the audience was able to follow along though with us. I think it was really awesome to learn about Standy in particular. I think that innovation is so relevant for so many markets around the world. So appreciate you saying that it is available for Korean market as well for any trials in 2022. And yeah, I think once again, thank you so much for also updating us on what's happening in Europe. You know, Asia always, many people think that Asia is leading the way, but innovation can come from anywhere. And we're very much always looking towards the rest of the world, including Europe, for what is happening over there. So thank you so much, Koen.
You're welcome, Simon, and thank you for hosting these 6 weeks of knowledge sharing sessions with the COCA associations. And also from my side, I really would love to be able to travel and also visit some of you in South Korea soon. Thank you.
Thank you.